To it. So with the site we're starting, it's called BitcoinCrypto.News. I will be the educational director for that. So I've actually started leading a class for Bitcoin 101. So everybody that really wants to go from getting their wallet started to actually get the rudimentary basics of researching and beginning to investing, I'm going to take you up to that point. And from there, Tyler will pick you up and get you actually into advanced trading and exchanges and the like. But tonight we're going to go over blockchain smart contracts. We're going to cover what smart contracts are, how Ethereum works, because this coin is based on smart contracts, what the difference is in comparison between Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're going to look at tokenizing and contracts themselves. So now, to begin with, smart contracts take what is generally written legal terms and turn them into cryptographic programs. So basically, if you're familiar with program, it's an if-then statements. If something happens, then do this. And that transaction is connected to funds. I bought a car from you, I'm not buying that car until it gets an inspection, and then it also has to pass that inspection, then funds are released and you get your money. But it can also be used in specific actions. We have a group meeting here, and based off membership, how many members can vote on particular items or specific topics. It can also function in that. So it's based off of what somebody wants to do and specific actions resulting from that. Now, each of the transactions are based on a number that's referred to as the gas. It's the fuel that keeps it going. If the transaction has no more gas, it stops. So there's a certain time limit that's connected to a transaction. In the event that somebody was going to sell a car, don't need much gas, have a couple requirements, has to be completed within a given amount of time, otherwise the gas runs out, transaction cancels, money doesn't move. But then if we're looking at years, months, in that realm, we can go ahead and put enough gas in that the transaction will stick around for that time frame as people's votes come in or specific decisions come through to result in particular actions. What it actually does is it adds scripting to the blockchain, and it enhances the blockchain. It's a feature on top of it. So when smart contracts were added, it added another dimension of versatility within the blockchain itself, because the blockchain at its heart and at its core is just a ledger of transactions or actions that aren't changeable. Once they're there, they're set, not going to move. What the smart contracts did is add functionality on top of that. So this decision to move something doesn't happen unless specific parameters are taken. Sure.
Can you define gas?
Gas, all right, think of it this way. I give you a tab at a bar. When you exceed that tab, your gas is gone. No more drinks, no more anything. That's the same principle. When the transaction of gas is applied, there's a certain time frame that transaction is going to be looking for a result. Looking for a result. If the gas runs out before that result happens, it just cancels it. But if the gas is applied to let it go on continually, it'll keep going until the gas is gone. If there was not gas on a transaction, it would continue indefinitely or forever and never actually transfer anything. So in that respect, it could end up having your money transferred and just caught in the ether, to turn a phrase. All right? So yeah, try to keep questions short. So if I can answer it quickly, I will. Otherwise, we'll just kind of go towards the end, just so we can get everything going, because I know standing people don't want to have to stand the entire time. So now, Ethereum is the blockchain coin that is the heart of the smart contracts and blockchain. With the programming functionality, this coin allows specific transactions to go through. For example, when somebody's selling a house, a house has to have so many inspections before it will actually be transfer hands. Using Ether to put parameters of those transactions, that parameter being met successfully allows those funds to go through with greater protection. And it's outside of the individual's interactions based off of what the requirements are. So everything gets triggered, It goes through successfully, but it protects the person that started the transaction in that he's not just going in blind. He gives the buyer particular times to meet the parameters set by the seller. All right? So now, what Ethereum is, it's a virtual computing machine. And as I mentioned before, with relation to gas, if it didn't have gas applied, the transaction could go on indefinitely because it's always looking for that end result. If the end result never happens, or if it's not told to stop, it would just continue indefinitely and nothing would actually end up occurring. What the gas does is put that time limit on it so it doesn't get caught in that loop. Because I know some people have had to have heard about the fears of messing up on a private key. If somebody sends funds to an area, they make a mistake in the private key, that transaction is going to continue looking for those other funds that it'll never find. And that money is just lost. There's about 4 million Bitcoins that have been lost between transaction failures, between losing hard drives, between having some sort of error in private keys that just can't be gotten back. And there's no customer support to call and say, hey, I messed up this transaction, can you cancel it and redo it? So Ether adds that protection, whereas if that doesn't go through, gas runs out, it reverts back to the initiator of the transaction. So that's where the smart contractors add in that level of safety and protection that the Bitcoin chain originally did not have. All right? So in that respect, it did not recreate blockchain, it just enhanced it. All right? So now when we look in comparison between Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're both blockchain technologies. It's just a matter of Ethereum has an added feature in comparison to it. But along with that, it's added speed to the transactions. For one block to go through, it takes about 10 minutes. And then on top of that 10 minutes, the transaction still has to be confirmed by 3 peers. Ethereum is able to make smaller blocks, so it doesn't take as long to process, depending on the transaction. So that takes about 15 seconds to go through, and then it has to be confirmed on the net, and then the funds get moved or whatever parameters were set get fulfilled. A lot of people will notice if you already have your accounts, it takes about 60 to even as long as 90 minutes for a Bitcoin transaction to go through. And that time can be crucial when you see fluctuating prices, whether they're going up or whether they're going down. Ethereum takes about 40 minutes, which again is faster than waiting the 90, but not as fast as some people would like for particular transactions, but other currencies might be better to use in situations like that. But for this topic, that speed enhancement is something that goes along with it. Now, when the coins are mined, all right, there's a particular complexity that slows down the production of those coins. Bitcoin has a half-life of 4 years. So after 4 years, the complexity to make one block increases, and it doubles. So shortening the half-life. So it takes more computing power to get to the next block as it did before. In comparison, Ethereum doesn't have that. It's not relative to the difficulty in the mining, which connects to the miners themselves. A lot of people that are connected to mining or familiar with it know that it takes a lot of computing power to get a Bitcoin. All right? So what miners have done is they've collectively connected computers. So I could have a computer here, connect to a computer there, connect to a computer in the back. They're all working together to solve the function that will end up being rewarded in a block. And that difficulty is going to increase. While Ethereum allows flexibility to a single miner. A single computer miner can go ahead and get his computer to mine that coin, that Ethereum. His computer over here can mine that Ethereum. And the computer in the back could all be mining Ethereum without having the difficulty of pooling together. So it's a lot more flexible in that respect. All right, so now the gas involved. Gas relates to transaction fees. Whenever there's a transaction for a Bitcoin, you'll see that there's a fee associated with that. In particular, that fee has gotten pretty enormous compared to what it used to be just a few months ago. And that fee is connected to the blocks that are connected to it. Ethereum, its gas is connected to the complexity of the transaction. So a simple transaction, I'll give you cash, you give me Ether. Boom, no trouble. I'm buying a house, I want to make sure it does this, 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 and this, then I give you Ether. That transaction for the house is going to be a lot more complex, therefore requiring a lot more gas than a simple transaction of just purchasing one coin. So that being the difference between that. It also shows a flexibility in the transactions that you're trying to do. If it's something that's a large amount that you're not too worried about, use Bitcoin. If it's a transaction that's a large amount, but certain things need to be met before you go through it, use Ethereum. So you have that difference between the two. In particular, when trading on exchanges or moving in between currencies, Bitcoin has become so bogged down from the new people adding to it. The amount of transactions going through, the transaction fees have gotten exorbitant, as I stated before. While going into Ethereum, then going into the coin that you're looking for might be a better result, have less fees, and go faster. Sure.
What's the network infrastructure for Ethereum? The Bitcoin miners?
The networking infrastructure is the Ether network. It's a network of Ether nodes that has the information on it. All right? It's separate from the blockchain network, but it's blockchain technology. Those nodes are spread throughout the world. Vitalik Buterin was the initial creator of Ethereum, and he's from Russia, and that's where most of the nodes started, but it has since expanded around the world. His ICO was the first one that was measured in the millions and really opened the floodgate to the new ICOs. And because his technology was so groundbreaking, it quickly rose to the top as far as market volume and utilization. So its network is more spread out than a blockchain network where the miners are centralized in areas and generally connected to electricity usage, like countries that subsidize their electricity or other countries that have lower electricity rates.
So it's the same technology as the blockchain?
Yes, it's just a matter of same technology, but it has a tweak. All right, just like you have your base model, and then you have your one with the souped up, turbochargers.
How many coins does Ethereum have? Is there a finite number of coins?
I don't believe. Yeah, we'll go over that later, but that flexibility is different from what's set up with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a set limit of 21 million. Ethereum has different limits as far as how it does. Off the top of my head, Rob's going to address that. It'd be better for him.
Headquartered in Switzerland, by the way.
Headquartered in Switzerland.
Neutral.
All right. Now, now the technology within Bitcoin is rather rigid. If there's any changes, the miners have to come together and agree on the changes that go through. So it's a difficult process. And generally that process ends up in a fork where a new coin is created, so that way everyone involved stays happy with the situation. Ethereum is a more flexible technology because it's based off of specific parameters. So those parameters can be changed essentially on the fly. So based off the parameters that have to be met, a whole coin can be spun off, or it can make changes to the Ethereum coin itself. But the point is that that ability to adapt is greater in Ethereum than it is in Bitcoin. So now, the total purpose of each coin is a little bit different. Bitcoin was designed to be a currency, to be used peer-to-peer, to be used in transactions for goods and services. Ethereum was designed to be a vehicle. It's used in currency in this respect, but it doesn't have to be used in currency. It can be used in transactions, it can be used in protections, it can be used in ledgers, it can be used in titles, it can be used in an array of different applications. But it's just a matter of what the coin was designed for and the use that you want it for your desires. So now, Ethereum allows something called tokenizing, where it sets certain parameters for the contracts so that an entire coin can be spun off for that. For that, I have a website up here called etherscan.io/tokens. It has a list of about 50 of the top tokens that are put on top of the Ethereum platform. So now that ERC page goes through what the requirements are or what that token does specifically. Because the tokens work kind of like the App Store. The App Store itself is the location, while the apps inside of it do specific functions. So if I want the function of Flappy Bird for a throwback, I'd have a particular coin that's related to that. If I had a coin that had the function of messaging, like WhatsApp, I'd have a coin that does something to that. The point is, with a token, you can put specific functionality into it and have it complete that and create a coin with respect to it. All right, so they have a specific use. Now, because of this, they also have a capability of becoming an ICO, which would be the initial coin offering. So for the specifications that are set by that contract that's attached to that token, that's all on top of the Ethereum platform, when they introduce it, they can get investors to back that up to focus on the expansion, utilization, and circulation of a token in that regard. The tokens that you can see here, some of the major tokens that are out are EOS. It's ranked 10th of the time I made this, and it provides infrastructure for decentralized applications. Qtum, which had a big jump today, was ranked 13th. And it makes smart contracts for business applications along different platforms. Omisco?
OMG.
OMG, it allows transactions between wallets and standard currencies to process smoothly. So a lot of these are just the backbone infrastructure. Augur processes information about markets into forecasting tool of market performance. So now these are used in specific areas and specific niches, so there's communities built around them. And the demand for that and the growth of that community determines what the value of that particular coin is. Golem. Golem sells computational power for mining and processing data. So when someone's doing hash mining, they could be using Golem behind the scenes as well as in their transactions. And then 10x Pay, which is actually gone down as far as the capitalization list on CoinMarketCap, but what it does is connects blockchain assets to be used as everyday currency in the sense of you could have a debit card to be used wherever you go, just like you have with your standard wallet debit card now, but it would be connected to a blockchain account, whether it be Coinbase or on an exchange account. So there's a lot of functionality that's built into them, and these have ICO built around them, so those particular tokens are traded as coins on the exchanges. So, with all that, I think I cut a pretty dense bit of material and covered a lot of the highlights and hopefully simplified it for easy understanding. Any quick questions on that? Or moderately fast questions?
So if you're trying to trade and get other cryptos, they don't take money, they just take other cryptos as payment. If you want to go faster, you boost the ETH?
Not necessarily. What you would do is use Ethereum for your transaction instead of Bitcoin. With the gas related to a particular transaction, it kind of it regulates the speed, but that's already determined in the exchange that you're using. So to do an exchange on, or excuse me, do a transaction on, say, Coinbase, to do that in Ethereum is going to cost a certain amount of gas. If you do that same transaction in Bitcoin, it's going to cost a certain amount, but generally the one in Bitcoin is more because it's moving the blocks as opposed to the simpler transaction in going with just Ethereum. So now this block takes longer to confirm and to process, while this block may take less time and go through faster. So when you're talking about an exchange purchase of another coin using Bitcoin and using Ethereum, this one took 90 minutes to hit my wallet, this one took 40 minutes to hit my wallet. So now I have more time available to play into another price change on another coin, or I've got it into my wallet faster and can do something else with it while I'm still waiting to get it complete over here. So the gas is kind of the behind the scenes portion, and it's only a portion of the transaction fee. You don't really see it on a day-to-day transaction when you're doing anything. It's already included in the transaction fee. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
The presentation you're doing now, that's going to be on the website later?
It's going to be on the website later, yes. We're going to link all that, and we're going to link these presentations and keep them localized to our members here and the people in attendance. Everybody that puts in their email address and contact information up front will get invited to our Bitcoiners of Southwest Florida Facebook group. If you don't get an invite, we probably couldn't read your handwriting. So my apologies, just send us a request, notify any of us, and we'll go ahead and get you added. Anything else?
How could you start a newsletter on this topic and not call it Tales from the Crypto?
In the incubator.
Is there any regulation to the mining fees, or can they just be
The fees are the fees. The mining, there's no specific regulation because it's whatever somebody would like to charge for their service. Just like whether you're buying popcorn in Naples or you're buying the same popcorn in Fort Myers, because it's Naples, it's going to have a little bump on it. If you're mining one place or you're mining another, because it's one place or another, depending on what their credibility is, they may have a higher fee or more gas added to it than someone else. It also is connected to the speed of the transaction. If you want a transaction to go through faster, add more gas. If you're not worried about the time, you can coast right to the spot.
on blockchain? It was showing me no matter how much I sent, whether it was $20, 400, it was 16 something.
Right.
As a fee, no matter what.
Right. Well, the gas is already included, so you're just looking at a transaction fee, and they flat rated it. Ideally, you're not going to use Bitcoin for a small transaction, particularly from a site like that. Wait till you have a big transaction and use it. If you're moving $4,000 worth of BTC, use that site. It's only 16 bucks. Whereas if you use another exchange, I did a coin shift, and they hit me with 20%. You know, so it was a matter of what's going on. On top of that, that transaction failed, and I just lost that 20% for no good reason. So, one of those things.
I have to ask, you paid capital gains on your profits?
Absolutely.
You do?
Okay. When getting into the taxation, you really have to talk to an accountant. I am not a licensed accountant. I cannot give you information. I can tell you this much. The safest bet for all of your profits is to set 30% aside for the tax man. If you talk to an accountant, he says, hey, you only need to pay 18% on this, great. You just pocket the other 12. But if it's under the capital gains and he says, hey, you got to pay that whole whop, at least you didn't spend it, and you're not going to have to sit down with the IRS and people that give out silver bracelets. Sure, madam.
Most of the exchanges that I've been on, it takes a while for your transaction to go through. Is there an exchange that is instantaneous or fairly quick?
The fastest exchange generally is Coinbase. It's what's referred to as a closed market. It's deciding how much the transaction is going to be, and it'll go through quickly. It's seeing a lot of congestion right now just because there's so many people moving into cryptos. That's the biggest thing slowing it down. But before all that, Coinbase went through very quickly for its transactions. For an open market, it really depends on when somebody accepts your buy ticket or sell ticket, and then it also takes the transaction time from that point to process, then the confirmation time. There's nothing that's really buy now, get now in general, but there's a buy now, hits your account in 90 minutes, hits your account in 40 minutes, hits your account in seconds. Depends on what coin you're using for that. Quick question.
Can I?
Sure.
Ether Delta. It's a peer-to-peer exchange, and it cuts out the middleman. But it's kind of difficult to use. Just YouTube how to use Ether Delta.
Yeah, and that's one thing. A lot of these things are complicated. For people that are very new, I recommend just waiting to do it. You might miss out on some gains, but you'll also save yourself a lot of headache, worry, and anxiety. So if it's complicated or it's not really quick, easy to use, wait to talk to somebody. You know, just for the safest bet. You know, because safety and protection is the first thing.
When you recommend Coinbase as an exchange, did you mean to recommend GDAX? Because Coinbase and GDAX are the same company, but Coinbase has much larger fees.
When somebody's starting out, I tell them just to stick to Coinbase. Coinbase is the initial starting point for 90% of people getting into the crypto world. All right. To get somebody that's brand new, to explain to them GDAX and have the graphs and everything is too much, and I've seen people get scared and miss out on potential profits because they're worried about that. Coinbase is a very, what I refer to as sandbox exchange, where it's pretty safe, secure. You're going to pay more fees, but I'd much rather somebody pay fees than lose out on their funds.
I started Coinbase.
Right, and there's some people that go straight onto an exchange like GDAX, Bittrex, Poloniex, and fine, but they'll in many cases tell you how they did something and it messed up and they lost a bunch of money.
Yeah.
It happens. It's easier to start there.
If you buy and they can't deliver and the price goes up, but they gave you a date when they will deliver, if there's a gain in between those dates?
It's generally not a date that they can give you when they're doing a transaction, because the confirmations may come in whatever time they do, so they can't give you a specific date. Now, the price change on that will already be built into, because if you're moving 0.15 BTC from here and 0.15 BTC when it arrives there, minus whatever transaction fee, all right, the value went up no matter what. The same amount of BTC transferred hands. So if it's worth 13,000 here, but by the time it arrives here it's 13.7, it's automatically calculated because it's the same amount, no matter what. Back in the green.
As a total newbie, I just think this question might be stupid.
It's never stupid.
If I bought, let's say I bought $1,000 of Bitcoin, could I just hold on to it for 5 years?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Absolutely.
There's
And
no time limit.
I'll tell you, no. The time limit I'm referring to is on the transactions. If you bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin and you sent it or sold it or did something to purchase with it, there would be a time limit on that transaction. Okay? But if you just bought it and held it, it's essentially putting it in a cookie jar and burying it in your backyard. And a lot of people have actually made a bunch of money because they didn't play with it, and it just stayed right there. All right? And that's buy and hold. And I'll tell you this from experience. We have some other groups where we've talked and compared notes and found out that there's a buy and hold strategy that we're looking into, and it performed better than anything we'd ever done. So buy and hold may be the better case for most people.
Points I think actually hit you on the taxations when you cash it out, right? Or can they hit you on your gains that you've got sitting in exchange?
They generally hit you on when you're cashing out. But with what the IRS did when they hit Coinbase, for anybody that did more than $20,000 worth of transactions, the IRS could very well say, hey, you did $20,000 worth of transactions, you have $100,000 sitting in your account, you need to pay taxes on that. And they could hit you with a bill for 30% of that as capital gains. I'm not an accountant again, so I can't tell you what they're going to do, but both events are potential. But the more likely one that people would be doing when they're taking that money out, but if they're in a buy and hold situation, they could also be looking at that. So if they held it for 5 years, the IRS could very well say, hey, well, you didn't pay taxes on this in 2011, 2012, 2013, and 2014, you owe this much plus fees. It's a possibility.
It's not there yet.
But the IRS has been relatively hands-off when it comes to cryptos. All right, so it's not particularly an issue because they see it as property more than a commodity. When they see it as a commodity, you will definitely have to pay on that. When they see it as a property, it's just a property, and it's dependent on whatever they do. Any question?
I just wanted to comment on the young lady back here. They have a couple of really nice vehicles now for newbies that want to invest in Bitcoin, and it's like a Bitcoin IRA. So you can just put, set up a Bitcoin, and you can Google it, Bitcoin IRA, and you just put money in there.
And we're going to be going over different options for people as they begin, but we're trying to generally just stay to the first step, which is just getting in. Once somebody's just gotten in, we're going to help them understand what options are available. Our design is to be a news site and be informative to what we can do in the beginning, in the middle, and even advanced trading and investing. In far back.
Yes. Would you recommend to invest right now or wait for a more secure technology that are advertised such as?
Would I recommend if you should invest right now or wait for a more stable technology? I am not a financial advisor, a financial planner, or anybody that has those degrees. I can tell you what I did, and I did not wait. I saw the numbers going up, and I thought it was a great time to get in when it was 2,000, and time has shown me that it was awesome because it's up to 17,000. And in my view, for what I look at, if I bought it at 17,000 and the projections say it's going to go to 60,000, I would still get in at this point. I'm not waiting. That's what I do. What you do, it's up to you. But I see a lot of potential. I see a lot of future for that. So for myself, I am getting in. I'm getting every free dollar that I have. I am not using money I need for rent, mortgage, electricity, anything I need day to day. I'm only using money that if everything went sideways and Bitcoin went to zero, it would not hurt me drastically. I don't believe that's going to happen, but my point is I'm only using funds that I have and I can put aside. I'm not using funds that I need day to day.
Something strange happened on Coinbase today. I made a purchase, about $500 worth, and it showed for like a half a second in my account, and then it disappeared. And I went to the account, it didn't show as pending, it didn't show anything. And I checked my bank, nothing.
That's
And then I bought it again, and they both showed up, but only one was taken out of my account.
right. That's a congestion issue with Coinbase. It happens mainly because Coinbase bulked up their servers expecting this, and even more people than they were expecting came through. So the traffic congestion is what slowed that down. In some cases, it just cancels, and then you just do the second transaction. Other cases, if you have enough funds there, it does a double transaction. So you always want to be really wary of what you're doing for that, so you don't get a double transaction fee, because sometimes it'll hit you for a transaction fee in both instances. So if it's a $15 transaction fee for the first one, then you did it again, first one went through, you got charged for both transactions. So care and patience is the easiest thing on that.
But only one of the 500 were taken out of my bank.
Right, because only 500 was available, or it could be.
They both are in my account.
Right. It's seeing the transactions. There's two of them there. Only one's going to get processed because it sees it as a duplicate. But the transaction fee for both may still go through. But it only did the job once. Because there were two hits on it, it recognized it as a duplicate. It doesn't do the transaction twice, but it doesn't recognize that the transaction fee may be duplicate. So you might get paid twice for the transaction fee instead of just once. And that's just a hang up in due to the congestion of everybody trying to get in. You got one up front? Okay, to the back.
We've been talking about tax information. Who do you get that from? Do you have to keep track of it yourself, or how does that work?
There are some accountants out there that are experienced in this, but there's not many, and it does take some searching. In the meantime, for tax purposes, just keep track of the transactions you're doing, or learn to use your APIs, which keep a record of all your transactions. If you go into Coinbase in the settings, look for your API history. It'll let you know your sends, receives, transactions, and the like. So learn to use that or keep track yourself. I know personally.
There's Bitcoin.tax also.
Oh, I was going to go into that. There's a site called Bitcoin.tax. I am starting to test that. I haven't done it, so I can't tell you exactly how everything works or answer any questions on it, but that's a good site to look into because I'm looking into that myself. What I did is I started out and I just keep an Excel file of all my transactions, which has gotten really complicated and it's getting all that. So I'm looking into programs that would be good suggestions, and it was given to me BitcoinTax.com.
No, Bitcoin.tax.
Bitcoin.tax. It could be a good resource because you just upload your APIs into that.
Is any of the information reported to the IRS?
Not directly. It's self-reporting. All right, so we got one more, and then we got to move on to our next.
Real quick basic question. If I'm a casual observer of this whole thing, if I want to get into like penny stock basically, thinking I'm going to be Wolf of Wall Street, I mean, is there like a place I can go to just basically this website to learn from the basics, or?
We are going, all right, his question was, being somebody that wants to play in the equivalent to penny stocks in cryptocurrencies, is there a specific website to go to? It's going to be ours. We are going to be working with investments as a team and as a group, as everybody putting their minds together for different ideas and different strategies to move forward with. So we're going to hold courses and we're going to have memberships of particular groups that discuss those topics. So we're going to be a hub for that. Outside of that, there's not really a central location. It's spread all over the place to whoever you find is a good source of information. Okay. But with that, Rob's going to pick up and go over our top coins. Any more questions, keep those in mind, and we're going to get some more time at the end to go over that. All right, Rob?
Well, I get the best job ever because I get to tell you about all the top cryptos and how much money they have increased. Thank you very much. I wanted to show you guys something very, very cool. So the top cryptos for December, we actually have 1,365 cryptocurrencies right now that are made. We have a market cap of over $606 billion in cryptocurrencies right now. The majority of that is Bitcoin. The dominance of Bitcoin is 52% out of that amount. So quite often we'll tell people if you're going to have a portfolio to at least have 80% in Bitcoin right now. So I know that there were a couple questions there that I want to point out to you guys, and GDAX is actually an important one. So if you are currently buying on Coinbase, please Google or YouTube GDAX so you can figure out how to use it, okay? Because that's a lot lower fees and it is very relevant, all right? So please do that. Also, Ken, you were asking about Bitcoin, I'm sorry, it's called GDAX. Just Google GDAX. And Ken, you were asking about Bitcoin IRAs. We contacted that company. They're actually going to Skype in our last January meeting. Yeah. So they'll Skype in here so you guys can ask questions directly to Bitcoin IRA.
I've been following it on YouTube, and there's been some amazing returns.
A friend of mine made I think 56,000 this past 2 weeks with them.
One guy was like, he's up like 380% in just like 4 months.
Right. Yeah. You could. I think you could choose from 4 cryptos with them. But anyway, they're going to talk to us. So that's super cool.
For a newbie to start.
Yeah, it really is. And for people who don't want it, you know, they want somebody else to take care of it for them. All right. So,
what was the name of that company?
It's called GDAX, is what?
No, the company.
Oh, it's called Bitcoin IRA.
Bitcoin IRA. Thank you.
Yep. They're gonna talk, and I called them. They're really cool. So, yeah, we got the top 15 here, and by the way, this is going to be on BitcoinCrypto.News, so you can have a link to this, and you don't have to write everything down. There'll be top cryptos that you're going to see there. Also, I want you guys to really get familiar with CoinMarketCap.com. Please get on CoinMarket.com. I'm gonna click this link real quick and open it up for you so you can see what I'm talking about here. So here we go. Here it is, right? So you got all the top cryptos listed, and here's the way you want to look at this. Okay, so let's click on Bitcoin. It's going to show the market cap of 298. This is the current price of Bitcoin right here. This is now, CoinMarketCap actually takes all of the crypto markets. If you click on markets here, you look at all these folks that currently on the exchanges have Bitcoin. This is the price that they're paying on that current exchange. Okay? So if you go back to charts and you look at the charts, that's going to show you actually how many are in circulation. Currently there are 16 million in circulation with a cap of 21, right? So we're getting way up there. We got 16,752,000. And yes, ma'am?
What does the circulation mean to us?
That means actually that's how many Bitcoin are currently out in the community and being utilized.
So the higher the circulation number, the better opportunity for the buyers?
Yeah, basically you're getting, like when you get closer to that market, closer to the cap, the maximum supply, that's when you quite often will see the price start going way up, you know. But Bitcoin has got a lot of great reasons why you should invest right now. For you, sir, that you asked that question, don't wait. Don't wait for any of these things, because what's happening is, you know, I'm going to talk about Bitcoin as far as the funds and going on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and things like that. But that is causing a massive influx of funds going into cryptocurrencies. So they're not just looking at Bitcoin, they're also looking at several other cryptocurrencies now that all of these interest is there. Quite often these people will look at CoinMarketCap and they'll see these top cryptos, and some of them become very appealing to them for that reason. So let me see, let me go back to my presentation here. All right, so we're gonna go on the next slide. So here we go, we got, this is, I wanted to show you guys this. So if you came to our meetings, Bitcoin was $3,978. Okay, and well, today it was, well, in December we actually reached $18,928, right? So September was 3,900, October was 5,600, November was 9,600, and then we jumped all the way to 18. And that's because those funds came online, massive influx of new buyers, all the exchanges are coming online, regulations are falling into place, just like Japan, for instance, is now a digital currency. They use it all the time for a lot of things. So this is the time to reap the rewards of cryptocurrency. Yes, ma'am?
What do you do? I mean, you're giving your time and all this. Do we buy the Bitcoins through you or?
No, you could buy, sure, you could buy them right through me. No, I can send you my Coinbase link, I get $10. No, but no, you just go on an exchange, and the most popular exchange in the United States is in San Francisco. It's called Coinbase.com, and that's what most of us utilize in order to buy cryptos. However, it doesn't allow you to buy some of the smaller altcoins. It only allows you to buy Bitcoin, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash now, and yeah, so, Ethereum. Thank you, Ethereum. So anyway, here's my massive picture here. So Merry Christmas to everybody who owns Bitcoin. In 2009, it was 0.001. 2010 is 0.07. 2011, $15. 2012, it dropped to $7. 2013, we went to 100. 2014, we went to 600. 2015, 2010, $220, and then 2016 we're at $750, and now look, right? You jumped to 18 grand. So, yeah. All right. So here's what I really wanted to show you guys. So what happened to make this huge increase and all of this energy come into Bitcoin? And that's the Chicago Mercantile Exchange open futures for Bitcoin, right? That has been something that's been in the works forever, and the Winklevoss twins have been working on that. I don't know if you know who that is, but they created what's called Gemini. And Gemini is actually their fund. And they are now considered the first Bitcoin billionaires because of what they've done. And they really tried over the years to get this fund active, and they were turned down multiple times, and now they were actually approved, and now these futures are coming online, and all these folks are jumping into Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin is just one of them. So also I wanted you guys to know that a lot of people talk about Bitcoin being irrelevant because a lot of, Bitcoin Cash, for instance, is scalable. Like, you could scale it. Bitcoin itself has always been considered something that's not scalable. So it is considered like you need faster transactions, like Visa and MasterCard. In order to do those faster transactions, you got to have a big scalability. And Bitcoin did not have that, but that does not mean that they are not working on it. They are working on it. In fact, the Lightning Network time function for transactions are about to come online, and that will allow faster transactions to happen. So let me open at Gemini real quick so y'all can see it.
Do you know when that Lightning is supposed to happen?
Yeah, December. I'll show you in the next slide.
Okay.
So here's that Gemini site, you guys, and you can open a personal account or an institutional registration. And believe me, they ask for everything. Your picture and your social security card, and you have to do all kinds of things for them in order to do that. But I just wanted you guys to see what that looks like.
And I imagine you have to have X amount of money. You can't be broke.
Yeah, you can't be broke, no. And I don't know what the actual investment is.
Bitcoin pauper?
Yeah. So USA, I wrote this up here so you can see it. USA actually classified Bitcoin as a virtual currency in 2013. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission classified Bitcoin as a commodity in September of 2015. And then in September of 2016, the IRS has now classified Bitcoins as a property or an asset. So born in 2009, Bitcoin has really grown and been basically the one that we all understand and know so far, but there are a lot of other investment opportunities that you're going to hear about tonight that can make you a lot of money, all right, if you're in early. So Bitcoin is now accepted by PayPal, Overstock, and Virgin Atlantic. And then the news in the realm of Google land is that the next thing that's going to happen for Bitcoin is that it will actually be accepted by eBay. So that's the news on the street anyway. And sorry, that is December that's going to happen for the Lightning Network implementation. Yeah, it's supposed to, I think it's supposed to happen this month sometime. So that's what I read anyway. All right, so our second cryptocurrency, our top second cryptocurrency is Ethercoin or Ethereum. Ethereum has just, been one of these things that is continuously becoming more and more popular because people can create smart contracts on them, they can create tokens on them, and also those the scalability is really high, so you can do fast transactions with Ethercoin. But Ethercoin and Bitcoin is now considered an asset. Ethercoin is more considered like a smart contract thing. And then the next thing I wanted to show you is Ethereum Horizon. So Vitalik Buterin is the creator of Ethercoin. They're going to release what's called Ethereum Fog. Has anybody heard about Ethereum Fog? Ethereum Fog is going to be released back on the first quarter of 2018, it says here. And that is all about that, the fact that they can store it and scale it. So please, if you want to learn more about Ethereum and Ethereum Fog, please Google Ethereum Fog. It's in-depth, and you might want to watch a video or something. So I won't go over a lot of that today, but it is the first quarter of 2018, so watch for a jump in Ethereum. Okay? Bitcoin Cash ended up at number 3, and I just moved it along here so you guys could see it. But I wanted you to see their website also. So if you go to Bitcoin Cash, the difference between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash is that Bitcoin Cash is actually 8 megabytes and Bitcoin is 1 megabyte. So Bitcoin Cash addressed the subject of scalability and quick transactions, right? So that's the difference. Bitcoin Cash is actually more scalable and can grow quite large. I did add a link, you guys, onto all of this tonight. So when you go onto our website, you could just click the links and then you can go to their primary website after that. The question about Coinbase always comes up, and I just wrote it in here. You will actually have access to Bitcoin Cash on January 1st if you have a Coinbase account, because they didn't show anybody how much you have until that time, okay? So I know some people wanted to move their wallets because of some of the forks like Bitcoin Gold, but I just suggest you hold on to that Bitcoin Cash, especially since the price of Bitcoin Cash, let me see, I can go right over here, or not there. Anyway, I believe when I came in today, Bitcoin Cash, does anybody have, a lot of you guys have it. What was it?
2,200.
Thank you. Hey, Darren. And then here we go. Bitcoin Cash has appreciated 43%. That's pretty amazing for this past couple weeks here. Anybody who in this room has had crypto the past month has got to have a permanent smile on their face. I mean, come on, you guys. I mean, how much money have you guys made?
Wants to create a coin, he can create one.
Absolutely.
Ah.
Absolutely. The key to cryptocurrency. What's that?
Is that a little scary?
I mean, honestly, cryptocurrency and digital currency opens a door for you to invest in what you want to invest in. That's what's really cool about this whole thing, is because it really, as long as you do your due diligence, and if you find out, hey, this guy's a terrorist, I don't want anything to do with him. I mean, you don't want to buy the coin, right?
So you can see whoever is behind that.
Yeah, you just, Google away. I mean, do your due diligence. I mean, kind of look at these things and say, is this something I really want to be a part of? I mean, you got a banker in here that he went for Ripple because he understands Ripple, right? So if there's a coin that you understand and you get the way it functions, my suggestion is that you jump on it, because you'll be passionate about it and you'll tell everyone. So, but there's a lot of opportunities in cryptocurrency. They're growing like crazy. I'm very conservative. So I look at coins that are actually physically doing something in the economy. They're actually attached to something. They're not some kind of, I don't know, crypto kitty thing or something like that. I keep referring to crypto kitties. Do you guys know what crypto kitties is? No. Nobody knows what crypto kitties is? It was an Ethereum joke. Well, actually, I thought it was pretty genius. So this artist created an illustration of a kitty, of a cat. And he said, okay, I'm going to put my kitty cat on and sell it for a token. And if you buy, you can have this kitty breed another kitty. And then he made all these illustrations of kitties. And all these people were buying these little kitties. One person paid $125,000 for a crypto kitty. This guy has made now several $1 million this past month. And the entire network slowed down. That's how many people were buying these crypto kitties. Wow. So that actually caused some havoc, right? Because all of a sudden, crypto's kitties can slow down an entire network, and that is exactly what happened. So one platform in particular is called Kick. They have now switched over to Stellar Looms. So if you see the price of Stellar Looms rocketing, that's why, because they got rid of Ethereum. They got really mad that it was all like so slow, and they're like, we can't do slow. We're going to go to Looms. So Looms, everyone. Stellar Looms. Okay.
How do you spell that?
Stellar is S-T-E-L-L-A-R, and Looms is L-U-M-E-S. Okay, so...
Is Steam still cooking?
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's still cooking. Still trying there. But,
IBM behind that too?
What's that?
Stellar Looms?
Oh, I don't know who's behind the Stellar Looms. I just know... Oh, okay, there you are. IBM, yes, sir. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Yeah, and then I wanted to go on to Litecoin. Litecoin is just, you know, honestly, it's just skyrocketed, you guys. I don't know. The last price of Litecoin, does anybody know?
350? Yeah, 3.5.
There you go. So,
$350, $3.5, what?
Yeah, $350, right, you guys? So what was it?
Yeah, it spiked last night at 366.
366. So last month we were at $91.
That's
so, and the month before that we were at $58.
Yeah, okay, now I understand what my brother did.
Your brother made money.
Well, he sent me some, but it's not like he spent a fortune to get it to me.
Oh, well, it's still a good Christmas present,
God bless
right?
him. I mean, I got it, and I'm learning now.
It's a good Christmas present.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys, I want to really direct your attention to Ripple. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen Ripple, what's happening with Ripple this past month. Ripple is now over doubled in price, you guys. So I'm an early investor in Ripple, so I'm super excited about this. But I mean, really, honestly, for the price, I think it's like I was 80-something cents right now when I drove in, and the month prior it was 21 cents. So that shows you.
Why doesn't Coinbase sell Ripple?
It will.
They're talking about Ripple being on Coinbase, so thank you for saying that, because you know that drives more people to buy. Because if it hits Coinbase, forget it, right? Yeah. Forget it. There's three things on this that everyone's ignoring sometimes, but Ripple is the only corporate-based cryptocurrency out there. They have a corporation behind them. They have an excellent marketing plan. They're driven to be in the banks. They're also the only one that's bank-friendly. Most cryptocurrencies are not bank-friendly. They are peer-to-peer, and the actual cryptocurrency community is turned off by banking, right? Because, oh, we don't want banks anymore. We don't want to control. These folks got smart. They're like, forget that. We're going into the banking institutions. We're going to figure out how to do quick transactions. They took over the SWIFT process, but now they're releasing what's called Xcurrent, Xrapid, and then Xvia. And all of that is geared towards them releasing their own quick cryptocurrency that will be implemented in banks. So they've been very active with banking institutions. Please consider buying Ripple for your portfolio.
Double P, R-I-P-P-A.
Yeah, exactly, Ripple. And you know, they had a conference called SWFL, and they introduced everybody to what I just spoke about a little bit. Expected a huge jump, and it never happened. But in this past month, all of a sudden it's doubled, and you know why? It's because the funds have come online. Now all these new investors are coming into crypto, and they look at the top 10 cryptos. And if they see that cheap price on Ripple, and they're like, hey, let me just grab a few of those, you know, that's a great price, and I make $1 million. So that's why you're seeing a huge jump.
You've mentioned a couple of times about funds coming online. What do you mean by that?
You mean as far as the actual Chicago mercantile funds and things like that?
Well, what are you referring to? Funds, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, institutional funds, like, you know, like, someone help me out here.
They're allowing them to trade on the mercantile.
Right, they're allowing people to trade on the exchange.
talking about regular mutual funds.
Yes, yes.
I guess there is one out there.
Yeah, and there's actually, so that actually was, there's two, Chicago Mercantile came online, and then a week later another Chicago.
These are futures.
Yes, they're futures, that's right.
We never had futures exchanges.
No, we never did.
This is an earmarked event. That
It is.
It really, a lot of people worried about it because they thought that it could possibly,
Cause a
short
dip.
sellers, short sellers coming in and
Right.
selling Bitcoin they didn't even own.
Exactly, yeah. A lot of people thought a lot of money would come in and it would tank on the price, but that never happened.
Do you know what the NASDAQ is? It's supposed to be like February?
I don't.
Yes.
I don't.
Yes.
Say what? Say that again?
Bitcoin futures hits NASDAQ, I think in February. Yeah, somewhere in the early quarter.
Awesome. Even more people viewing, even more people buying. A lot of laws are falling into place across the world. Australia, South Korea, South Korea has actually experienced a bit of a crackdown right now, but there are a lot of nations that are actually validating Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies.
Well, I have some friends that are, let's say, skirting a lot of difficult problems in their country, which is Venezuela, and they are using Bitcoins in different ways.
They are.
They're well-meaning people and so forth.
The only people that are using Bitcoin Venezuela are the people getting rich from the poor people.
No, actually, you know what? Because of the social upheaval in Venezuela, it's very important to actually note what happened is politically they had such an upheaval, but they subsidize electricity in Venezuela, so it drove a massive army of people to start crypto mining.
They don't have electricity.
No, sir.
The only people, please, I was born there.
Okay.
I come from there.
Okay.
People don't have toilet paper. How come they have electricity?
I don't know, but I'm just telling you what I'm reporting you on the news. That the news, and if you Google Venezuela Bitcoin, I'm telling you, you're going to get flooded with Bitcoin miners. And do they subsidize electricity there?
No.
They don't.
Only the very wealthy have power. Everybody else is in the dark.
I got you.
Okay. It's okay if the millionaires make the money.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that just seems to me like a lot more interest is involved. Like every time you see social upheaval, you see a lot of people buying crypto in that country. Greece is one of them. They did something very similar, and actually an attorney that was involved in the Greek government saved Greeks because he took a large portion of their money and invested in Bitcoin and actually saved the whole entire island. Good enough. All right, so IOTA. Now, IOTA is kind of near and dear to our hearts here at the Rocket Lounge. Peter is actually crucial in bringing over some of the team from IOTA who actually are going to come back here in February. We plan on having a big party with them. They were very pro-IOTA and not other cryptos, but they are really working with something brand new. It's not the blockchain, you guys, it's called the Tangle Network. Tangle works different than blockchain. Okay, so that's a whole new ball game. It was 48 cents when they came here 2 months ago, and it jumped to over $5, right? Over $5. So if you would have went home in our meeting that was 2 months ago and bought, you guys were here. You guys were here.
I was here.
Did you guys buy? Yeah. So
I didn't buy anything.
You didn't buy anything?
No.
No. You know
I
what?
was here.
Mike Chandler went home and bought a bunch too, and I own 1,000 of them now, so I'm all pleased with that.
Oh,
But IOTA really is really something different, a total different animal, the way it functions. But you guys, it's about nano transactions, very small, little transactions. It's called the Internet of Things. It's monetizing every single thing that you can have, like your refrigerator and your car and your microwave, and all of that is coming online. It's all connected through Wi-Fi. IOTA is crucial in that. So consider buying IOTA, especially at the price that it currently is. I want to say it was around 89 cents or 81 cents something this morning. So anyway, around that, I don't know where it jumped up to. Is it 5 something now? 5?
Yeah, because there was a big announcement today. You know, Bosch, big German industrial, their venture group has invested today. Their venture group bought tokens, and 2 weeks ago, IOTA announced the IOTA Foundation, the IOTA Marketplace, and Microsoft stepped in. And now they expect that all the Oracle and SAP stepping in. So that's more or less the future of Industry 4.0, which experts say you can't do with blockchain. So you need a new, and this is what Tangle guys are doing.
That's what you're thinking, right?
But I would go for both, you know, let them grow parallel.
Exactly.
I'm proud because they are out of in Germany, so that's why I need to like them. It's not my hometown, I'm
just a political beast, that's all.
So anyway, they'll be back in February, and you guys get to see them, and hopefully you'll come to our party for them. It'll be a really cool thing for IOTA party to have. And just, you know, crypto nerd out, you know.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Is the Tangle Web similar to AskGraph technology?
I haven't seen anything that is related to Tangle or even comparison to it, and I definitely cannot explain it to you the way that these guys were able to explain it to us, and it took me like video after video after video to try to even grasp what it was. But that's not saying much. That happened to me in 2009 with blockchain, so I was like, I don't get it. So it takes you a while to understand the technology, but you know, what they are is they're not mined actually. They're not using miners to do it. So there's a lot of difference when it comes to IOTA. It's not like a warm and fuzzy feeling from the cryptocurrency crowd because they're used to getting miners getting paid, right? So that's the other thing about that. But Carnado. Carnado is a decentralized public blockchain and cryptocurrency project, and it's fully open sourced. And now they have jumped up to the top 10, you guys, within the past month. Carnado is more than just a cryptocurrency. It's a technological platform that will be capable of running financial applications currently used every day by individuals, organizations, and governments around the world. The platform is constructed in layers, which gives the system flexibility to be more easily maintained and allow for upgrades by the way of soft forks. After the settlement layer that will run ADA is complete, a separate computing layer will be built to handle smart contracts, the digital legal agreements that will underpin future commerce and business. Carnado will also run decentralized applications, or dApps as they are known, services not controlled by any single party, but instead operate on the blockchain. So if you're interested in buying Carnado, it just shot way up into the top 10, okay? Dashcoin or Darkcoin. Many of you already know about Darkcoin. It's been around for a while, and I think it was 2012, I want to say, or it was created. But Darkcoin came online as anonymity. You know, you don't know who sent the money, and you don't know who's receiving the money. You can't see that when it comes. They hide that information. They are now a value-added reseller for IBM, Cirrus Computer Systems, and industry-specific point-of-sale POS partners. You know why they went to POS is because they really want to capitalize on, like the lady that was back there, on the cannabis industry. I don't know if she's still here or not, but the cannabis industry has now picked up Dash as their primary cryptocurrency, and the reason why is because the dispensaries still can't go to the bank and drop their cash in there, right? Because the banks don't want to deal with them because it's still federally illegal. So Dash went in there, they worked with their POS system to implement a widget when they get their POS, so where they actually take the money from the customer, that Dash actually makes that transaction, goes into currency, can be put in their bank.
So then with the legalization of marijuana, as it furthers and becomes federally legal eventually, won't that essentially kill the whole purpose of Dash?
I don't know. I don't really believe so, because now it's being implemented in all of these POS systems, then why would you want to change, right? You know what I mean? If your dashes keep going up and you're a dispensary, why would you want to use a bank? I wouldn't even push it into the bank. I would hold it as a dispensary and watch my money just go up and up and up and up. So Dash has skyrocketed, you guys. What's the Dash price? Anybody know? 1200. So we were at $627 last time, and then a month prior we were at $302. So Money, 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 you guys. And the circulating supply is a 7 million dash right now, and there's a maximum supply of 18.9. So we're about a little halfway there, right? We're getting almost halfway there. I wrote this. This is a pretty lengthy description of how Tangle and IOTA Tangle and blockchain varies. And again, I'll put this on the website that you can it'll show you the difference between the Tangle and the blockchain, so you can get more familiar with that. I won't go over it because it's like blah, 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 right? It takes a while. Nemcoin. Nemcoin shot now up into the top 10 recently, and it's at 95 cents, and it was at 21 cents prior, right? So we just had a huge jump. The alpha version of NEM was released on June 25th of 2014, and then from there, of course, they've released the alpha version. Catapult is the alpha version of Nemcoin. Nemcoin is created by the Japanese, and they're able to what they were trying to do is essentially create what Ethereum is for us here. Like Ethereum does smart contracts, NEM does smart contracts, very similar in the way it acts. So Nemcoin is actually really popular now in Asia, and now you've seen it reach up to the top 10 recently. And then this one is a new one. So EOS coin just hit the top of the top 10, and this one again is a new one for us. So I'm just going to really read it for you. EOS.io Dawn 2.0 has been released along with the public test network, which will be maintained by the Block One team. The release provides an alpha implementation of most of the remaining features described in the roadmap for the fall of 2017, and originally tested for the completion by December 21st, 2017. So that is 2 days away, a couple of days away. So that's why you see everyone kind of looking at EOS and what it does. So I put a link here to the website, and it shows their announcement, and it shows that they're a scalable, decentralized application, and how they're scalable, flexible, and usable. So consider EOS as one of the ones you might want to add to your crypto portfolio.
Little side note,
yes.
With EOS, if you're on a server, I think you use a VPN.
VPN.
Because if they pick up that you're in the United States, you can't purchase it.
Yeah, they'll block you. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Monero coin, you guys. Monero coin, just the news out of Monero is just incredible. I mean, it just keeps coming and coming and coming from Monero. Actually, I don't have the price of Monero right now. Does anybody know how Monero is? $375. Okay, so wait, Rob, go back. $375. So you guys, we were at $176 last month, and then we were at $89 month before that. So $375 is an incredible amount. On Monero, again, it's focusing on decentralization and scalability, and it runs on Windows, Mac, Linux. It was originally launched under the name BitMonero. Does anybody remember that? BitMonero? Wasn't that long ago, you guys? But anyhow, they changed the name to Monero shortly after, which is called Coin. Thank you, sir. Unlike Bitcoin, crypto notes transactions, cryptocurrency is what Monero is utilizing. Crypto notes transactions cannot be followed through the blockchain in a way that reveals who sent or received the coins. The approximate amount of the transaction can be known, but the origin, destination, and actual amount cannot be learned. So there's a lot of interest and benefits to that if you're in certain industries.
So how does that differ than Dash then?
Certain industries.
How is that different than Dash?
It actually is not that different than Dash. It's not that different than Dash. It's about the same thing. Scalability, quick transactions, and yeah. And actually they were being tested by, I think the University of Arizona just started something with Monero. Monero actually is the one that, by the way, that it can be, you can actually embed now in your website a widget, and when you visit somebody's website, that will automatically start mining Monero for them because they take over your computer and you don't even know it.
If you go into Starbucks.
Yeah.
If you go to Monero's website, they take over your computer?
No, if you go, like there's a widget now and it's actually put out by another, and you grab that code, you go to your website and you pop it in your website.
Okay.
And then every time a visitor comes, it'll hijack their browser, start mining from their CPU, your thing. And some people disclose it. You'll see it at the bottom, will say, you know, we're mining, do you mind? And you can shut it off. But the others don't even tell you and you have no idea.
And that's not illegal.
It's not illegal right now, yet. Yet. However, it's frowned on, right? Sure. It's kind of shady. Kind of shady. So there we go. Monero's leading cryptocurrency with a focus on privacy and censorship-resistant transactions. Okay, so we're going pretty fast here, you guys, and we've gotten a lot of people that are newbies, and we decided to create a separate lesson class just for new folks. And so please, if you'd like to learn more about cryptocurrencies, signing up for wallets, or learning that stuff, please come up to us afterwards. We'll jot your name down and we'll put a course out for you. We also created a more advanced course now, which I've got to say, if you are in cryptocurrencies, you should take part of the advanced class, because these guys are really going over charts. They're following all the cryptos. They're really in depth of what's going on, and it's truly interesting. I don't do a lot of things that they do. I follow the news a lot more than they do, but I found it fascinating in how they do it. A lot of them are previous Forex traders, and they look at the, you know, the graphs are crossing, and here's where you're gonna buy and all that great stuff. So you should take part of that. We are gonna be now in January 4th on Thursdays. We're going to be in South Lee County over by Alico Road. Yeah, and we'll be having that at Endeavor on January 4th, which is an incubator hub down there. And then directly after that, we will have our January meeting here at the Rocket Lounge. That is late January. It's now the third Tuesday. Thank you. The third Tuesday of January, because we moved it so they're not back to back. That one in January will be that Bitcoin IRA Skype in call, so you can actually ask those folks some questions. That's January 16th. And that is the end of my top cryptocurrencies, guys.
January 4th, what time is it going to be? What time on January 4th at the Endeavor?
It's at 6. It's 6 o'clock, yeah. Yep.
Okay. So now, we're going to break the groups into a question and A for people that are new, but somebody that's advanced, that's kind of like, hey, I know all this stuff. I want you to come up to the front. We have a presentation going over charting and other details on that with Tyler in the other room. So if you have an account, you're already trading, you don't know any questions, you can come in and out of trades, you need to know different strategies or everything, come on to the front and we'll have you go into the advanced portion. Everybody else, just hold your seat and we'll get you into, get your questions answered and anything from there. Make sure that your account hasn't been hacked. This is connected to my, or will be connected to my Google Authenticator, which is a separate app that you keep on your phone or your tablet. I hit the plus sign right here. It tells me to search for that. Go to Authenticator, it's going to put a QR code on the screen. And then with my app, I scan that barcode. And I would input that number. Right here, and I put my password again, and it should enable that. Sometimes it says binding failed. All right? I don't know why it's doing that, I just know that it does, so I just skip this for now. Okay, because I'm in. But you generally want to add this to your sites just to make sure it has a secondary application, because no other authenticator can attach to this other than mine. So nobody else can do that. Coinbase, it texts you your code. So no, either Ethereum or Bitcoin, I recommend, excuse me, I can't make any recommendations, I'm not a financial advisor, all right? But what I do is I use Ethereum because it's faster, all right? So I would go up to my Ethereum wallet that they have on the exchange, hit deposit. It gives me a private key. I always use copy address or the QR. This way you're not going to make a mistake on any number here, which throws your money out in the ether and you'll never see it again. Okay? So always use the copy right there.
Wow.
So I would hit copy, and that's copies the address. I go to wherever I store my funds, go to the send function, put in this key, put in the amount I want to transfer, and wait, and it'll take about 40 minutes. Ish. Sometimes it's faster, sometimes it's slower, it just depends on everything. Yes?
That's technically mine.
Well, you're there. Okay. So now we're just getting started. Come on, man, I'll answer it. All right. So this just
the PDF up, but there's a bunch of different exchanges. Each exchange has their own kind of strengths and weaknesses. Some of them have really strict ID verification processes. Some have been hacked before. Some trade altcoins. Some don't trade altcoins. I know Bittrex trades different altcoins than Binance trades, and you would have to do your own research to figure out exactly which ones. I personally have accounts on all of these, and I link them together through Coinigy. So if you take a note on Coinigy, and I'll go over like how to link them together through Coinigy. But Coinigy is basically that charting software that I just showed you, that I just pulled up. Where is it at?
How does it go up? I thought it was $15 a month.
Yeah, it's a subscription, like $15 a month, something like that.
30 days free.
Yeah, you get your first 30 days free. If you pay 3 months ahead of time, it's $15. If you pay a month at a time,